Pregame.com.
I'm Vegas Runner, here with Bryan Leonard, breaking down Sunday college basketball. Huge SEC matchup, Kentucky at Florida. They played earlier this season in Kentucky. Wildcats 9-point favorite, blew them out by 20, even though they only went to the free throw line 11 times. So it was just total domination of Kentucky. I made my line 4.5. You agree with that as far as Kentucky being that road favorite? I got to tell you, I'm going to go with the so-called square side and ride the Wildcats. I know they have not been a moneymaker this season. And when you're number one in the nation and you're 28-1 straight up, you're not going to produce much profit at the betting window unless the odds makers are extremely generous. And they have not been generous with Kentucky all year. In fact, they're 10-17 with a push against the spread. So they've done a great job of minimizing damage that a 28-1 team can do, and instead made it extremely profitable for the books by inflating the price so much, and still bettors were willing to lay it. In this case, I think Florida being 16-1 at home just may be an attractive dog getting points. But you may think Kentucky, what do they have to play for? They're a number one seed even if they exit the SEC tournament after the first day, with their resume this year. But they have a chance to go undefeated in the conference by winning this game, finishing 15-0. For those players, that's an accomplishment. Your season goal is to win a national championship when you go to Kentucky. It may be to reach the Final Four. It's definitely to get into the tournament. It may not be to go perfect through the SEC conference, but now all of a sudden, it's right there for the taking. I think this is a goal that now they're going to look to achieve. And you give me a motivated Kentucky team, I'll back them every day of the week.
Yeah, you stole just about everything I was going to say. The one thing I do want to make a point on, we're taping this on Thursday. They are playing Georgia tonight.
Yeah.
So if Georgia was to upset them,
then the
throws
playing field
out,
changes.
Throws everything out. But we want to put it on there. You can't bring this tape to your bookie and say, hey, VR said they were undefeated, man.
And that's why. There's the reason.
Well, this is before the game is being played. But we're assuming Kentucky's going to win that game. And you mentioned the motivational factor here for Kentucky wanting to be undefeated. Last time they played Florida, they win that game 78-58. They held the Gators to 35% from the field and 22% behind the arc. They out-rebounded them by 10. I think that's going to happen again because Kentucky's very big underneath. Florida won't be able to score.
No.
Now, they will be able to shoot from the outside.
And being home, that'll help.
That's going to help them. But I just think it's a bad matchup for them. I really think Kentucky takes away basically everything that Florida does right. And so it's a bad matchup. They won by 20 on the road. Here they only have to win by 5 or so. I kind of agree with you. When I first took a look at this, I said, this is going to be a great spot for Florida. And maybe it is a great spot, but I just don't think it's a very good matchup.
I agree. I think Florida's one of those teams that if they could get in any kind of rhythm in the tournaments, they could be dangerous because they do have upperclassmen. And usually those good teams don't. Kentucky, when you look at their experience with Ken Pomeroy's numbers, they're 340th. You don't usually see too many sophomores even at Kentucky.
Right.
Juniors and seniors, forget about it, unless they're at the end of the bench and they're more or less, mascots. So for Florida to have a senior and a junior at guard, I think that's going to be huge come tournament time. But again, this is just a bad matchup for them. And I think you look at Teague and Jones and Davis, they're just way too much. Just not enough answers for those players. And again, if they beat Georgia tonight and it's right there for the taking, a perfect season in the SEC, this is not a team I'm going to look to fade come Saturday.
I agree.
So there you go. We're going to back the Wildcats, who have not been moneymakers all year, over Florida, going with the road favorite. Hopefully the wise guys who make their bread and butter steaming home dogs go in and give us an even more attractive price on the Wildcats. But regardless, we both like Kentucky. Don't forget, pregamevideos.com. All our videos up on one thread, along with conversation and notes from all the cappers and the forum members. We'll be back with one major primetime NBA game next.